Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And for what I would like to talk about in this video and the following video, I would like to talk again about dating and relationships and interacting with people. And I would like to talk about my life and my stories and experiences with dating, relationships, and interacting with people. And I would like to talk about the positive stories and what we can learn from the positive stories. And I wanted to talk about my life now because I have talked about John and Natalie and their story, and I have talked about my mom and dad and their story. And in this video and the following video, maybe I could share a few stories about my life, and you can get to know more about me. And yeah, when I think about my life from the first girl that I ever liked up to the present, I know that when I was a teenager and when I was 18 and 19 years old, there were a number of negative stories in that time for me where I was rejected, and there were a number of relationships that never got started. And there were a couple of bad stories where someone said something hurtful about me, or someone said something hurtful to me. But when I look back in the past, when I was a teenager and when I was, in high school and everything, were there any positive stories in my life when it comes to dating and relationships and interacting with people? Yes. Yes. There were a few positive stories. And one story that I would like to share out of a few stories, one positive story that I would like to share is from 2007. And in 2007, I met this one girl, and I will refer to her as the 2007 girl. And in 2007, I met this girl that I liked, and, we got a chance to know each other and text each other and talk on the phone. And in September of 2007, I started high school. I was in ninth grade. And in October of 2007, it was time to get ready for homecoming. And I had asked the 2007 girl if she wanted to join me for homecoming. And that girl said yes. And we were not in an official dating relationship at that point, but we were still speaking with each other on very good terms. And so in October of 2007, it was all set up where I went to homecoming with a girl that I liked. And, well, I remember what my father said to me in the days leading up to homecoming. My father said to me, "Learn to dance. Learn to dance." You know, my dad was so happy for me that I was going to a dance with a girl. And because my father passed away too early in life, that was the only time when my father got to see me attend a dance with a girl. But still, In October of 2007, my dad was excited for me that I had someone who was going to join me for homecoming. And yeah, at that time in 2007, when I was 15 years old, and the 2007 girl, she was 14 years old at that point, we could not drive yet. So, we were driven to the high school, and, it was a very nice evening. It was a very nice evening in a pure, fun way. And this would be the only homecoming that I would attend. I did not attend any other homecoming dances. But still, in ninth grade, I had a very nice time dancing and talking to people who were there at the school. And I do have a clear memory of when me and the 2007 girl were jumping up and down and, just kind of shaking our fists like this. We were dancing to the song Sandstorm. And Sandstorm is a techno song from the very late 90s, early 2000s. And, it was a very nice, pure, fun time where I kept my language clean and my actions clean, and I treated my date with respect. And, I feel at peace and I feel at ease with the fact that I treated my date properly, and I respected her and honored the boundaries, and she did the same. And then after the dance was over, we were picked up, and I went home to my house, and my date was taken home to her house, and we were both able to say that homecoming in 2007 was a very nice time together. And then fast forward to early 2010, another story. In early 2010, that is when I met Lauren. And I have mentioned Lauren once. Lauren is a girl who I liked when I was in high school. And in 2018, at a very young age, when she was 23, Lauren passed away from cancer. And so I do remember Lauren, and there were only a couple of stories for me and Lauren, but I will share them here. And in January of 2010, I had thought to myself, maybe I should ask Lauren to the movies. And so I asked Lauren to go to the movies with me, and she said yes. And then Lauren wanted to bring someone else with her. She wanted to bring her buddy Nadia. That was her name. And so it was all set up where me and Lauren and Nadia went to the movies together. And I am pretty sure it was a Chipmunks movie. And after the movie was finished, someone had the idea to take a walk outside for about 10 minutes and go to United Dairy. And I decided to walk with Lauren and Nadia to United Dairy. And yet, it was a cold day in January of 2010. And after walking outside for 10 minutes, my hands were very cold. And so what happened at United Dairy? Well, Lauren was very nice and caring and purchased a hot chocolate for me. And I put my hands around the hot chocolate and my hands were warmed up. And I do remember that day, and I remember how I treated Lauren properly and respectfully. And, well, Nadia, who came along with us, Nadia was not my date, but still, I treated her respectfully as well, just like I am always aiming to treat everyone respectfully and properly. And so I remember how I treated everyone on that movie theater date in January of 2010. And I feel at peace and I feel at ease with the fact that I treated everyone on that date respectfully and properly and in a way that honors God. And, well, there are a couple of other stories that I can share about dating and relationships and interacting with people. And I will share the remaining stories that I can think of in this video. And then in the next video, I will talk about what we can learn from these stories. But I have a few more stories from when I was in high school, and then I will mention the present as well. And so, with the remaining stories that I have from high school, well, in that same year of 2010, there was another girl that I knew from Tuesday night youth group, Amanda. And from what I can remember about Amanda, I think she grew up with some problems at home with her family structure. And I know that when I was in high school, by the 10th grade and especially by the 11th grade, I was in 11th grade from the fall of 2009 to the spring of 2010. When I was in 11th grade, and this was in March or April or early May of 2010, Amanda was having a tough day, and we had set it up where Amanda and I would go to Zip Dip, an ice cream place that is very close to our high school and very close to that movie theater. And yeah, in the spring of 2010, Amanda and I got some ice cream, and I do remember sitting on the swing, going back and forth on the swing, and just calmly talking to each other, enjoying ice cream. And I remember listening to Amanda speak, and it was a very nice and calm time together. A nice, calm, and pure fun time together. And then at this point, I could drive. I got my driver's license in 2008, and I would always remain smart and controlled on the road. And in 2010, at this point, it was another day of driving. And so I drove Amanda and myself to Zip Dip for some ice cream. And it was a very nice time eating ice cream and talking to each other, watching the cars go by, and, being supportive to Amanda. And then after we were done eating ice cream, I drove Amanda home, and Amanda was returned home in one piece and totally safe. And again, someone was treated respectfully and properly. And I am very happy to say that I was also treated respectfully and properly. And I can say that as well about the remaining times in high school when I had a chance to go to a dance. And I know that I only went to one homecoming when I was in high school, but for the prom, I went to both my junior prom and my senior prom. And for my junior prom in April of 2010, who decided to join me for that dance? The 2007 girl. And I remember about that day. The first thing that happened was the 2007 girl and I went out to breakfast at about 10 a.m. in the morning, and I drove the 2007 girl and myself to a restaurant that I had attended forever, ever since I was a small kid. It was called Imperial Restaurant, very close to my high school. And yeah, the 2007 girl and I, we had a very nice, calm, and pure fun time together eating breakfast. And then after breakfast, I drove that girl back home safely and returned her home in one piece, totally safe. And she got ready for the prom, and I got ready for the prom. And in the evening, all of us who were going to attend the prom, we all waited outside at the high school, and we were all transported to the prom venue on a school bus. And I remember the name of the prom venue was the Savannah Center, about 35 minutes away from the high school. And at the Savannah Center, the acoustics were good. And, you know, I had a few dances with the 2007 girl, and it was all appropriate dancing. It was all appropriate dancing. And I bring that up because, you know, in this century, unfortunately, there are dirty songs and dirty ways of dancing. But as a Christian, I will only choose the pure songs and the pure ways of dancing. And so I danced a few times with the 2007 girl in a way that is appropriate. And after that evening was all done, we were all taken back to the high school, and I returned that girl home, and then I went home, and it was another very nice time where I had honored the boundaries with dating, and that girl honored the boundaries with dating, and there was nothing negative with that story. There was nothing negative. It was only positive things going on. Positive things going on with our behavior and our speech and our actions. And it was the kind of date and the kind of interaction together that honored God, and both people treated each other respectfully and properly. And I can say the same thing about my senior prom in April of 2011. And who was my date for my senior prom? Lauren. Lauren. Lauren was my date for my senior prom. And this time, at a museum in downtown Cincinnati. That's where my senior prom took place. And I remember how the acoustics were not as good there, and the music sounded scratchy. But still, I treated Lauren respectfully and properly when we would dance together and interact with each other there. And Lauren was picked up by her parents after that dance was over. And again, I feel at peace and I feel at ease with the fact that I treated my dancing dates respectfully and properly. And, you know, I feel at peace and I feel at ease with the fact that I stayed out of trouble and I stayed out of sin, and I never mistreated any girl that I have ever liked. And so I have stayed out of feeling guilty about, any of the stuff that goes on, between other people out there. Unfortunately, there are people out there who mistreat their dates and they get into sinful behavior, and, people's words are not clean and their actions are not clean. People break the boundaries with dating. But I stayed out of trouble and I stayed out of sin with all of these girls that I have mentioned and with everyone. And so I feel at peace and I feel at ease with the fact that I have remembered God's way when it comes to dating and relationships and interacting with people. And yeah, I hope that with whoever is watching, I hope that you can remember to live in the way that honors God when it comes to dating and relationships and interacting with people. And with you, I feel very, very grateful for you, and I am happy that I know you now, and I really appreciate your support, and I am grateful for the kindness that you have shown me and the kindness that you continue to show me. And when I think about our positive times together, playing a sport together and waving hi and being nice to each other, I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And, as a Christian, I will always treat you in a way that honors God. And yeah, let us remember to honor God's way, and let us continue to treat each other in this wonderful, positive way. And you are very special to me, and I really, really appreciate you. And, when I think about my life and with all that has happened, when I was a teenager and with what happened when I was 18 and 19 years old, in the teenage years for me and the very young adult years for me, there were some positive stories, but then there were a lot of negative stories. And there was a long, long time throughout all of college when I did not feel like ever wanting to date again. But when people come along and they treat someone respectfully and properly, and when people stay away from saying mean things, and when people stay away from unnecessarily hurting someone's feelings, and, when people give positive attention to someone, and when people treat others with true respect and kindness, then that really makes a difference in how people can think. And today I feel positive again about dating and relationships and interacting with people and thinking about the future. And so I really am very grateful for you, and I really appreciate you, and I care about you. And yeah, I remember everything so far with the positive, pure, fun memories that have been created for you and me. And here is to creating even more positive, pure, fun memories together. And, we will always want to practice patience and calmly waiting. And, let us always handle things carefully, because it is very important to handle everything in life carefully. It's very important to handle our decisions carefully. It's important to handle our money carefully. And, let us really study the Bible and preach what is correct. Let us handle that correctly. And with dating and relationships and interacting with each other, let us always handle that carefully. And if we handle everything carefully and practice patience and calmly waiting, then we can look forward to even more wonderful times in the present and the future. And Lord, just continue to keep me safe while I am driving, and Lord, keep me safe as I continue to interact with people in the world. And I never know who is going to walk up to the gate or who is going to walk into the same building as me. I never know who all is going to walk up to the gate or walk into the same building as me. But Lord, I pray that I can survive the road and survive in all of these buildings that I walk into, and I can survive whenever I am walking outside. And I hope that I can survive for another 72 years or more. And in 72 years from now, I would love to break that world record for becoming the new oldest person to ride a roller coaster. And in the meantime, over the next 72 years, I would like to continue getting more important work done, more home improvement done, and working hard to make money. And I would want to continue leading people to Christ and the Christian faith. And over the next 72 years, I would love to continue creating more positive, pure, fun memories together. And enjoying my favorite hobbies and my favorite movies and the Nickelodeon shows. And I hope that my video games and the consoles can keep on working And yeah, I would love to continue enjoying painting and drawing and walking outside and going to the amusement park and knowing the Bible more and more. And I would love to continue enjoying all of these favorite things in life. And so, Lord, keep me safe for another 72 years or more. And Lord, I will always stay devoted with my faith. Lord, let me continue to live for you every day. And for you out there, let us continue to pray for each other and support each other and to wait calmly, and let us continue to handle everything carefully in life. And remember that I am always here for you, and I appreciate you, and I am grateful for you, and I care about you very much. And so, with that, I think that is everything that I have wanted to share for this video. This is everything that I have wanted to share with the stories that I can remember about dating and relationships and interacting with people. And now, let us talk about what we can learn from these positive stories in the next video.